Okay, good day, grade 9s. I hope you're well and I hope you had a good Easter, okay? I'm just going to go through a short video that's going to go through what we're going to do this week, okay? So we've got 3 lessons to look at. The first one is looking at banking, really. So we're going to go through banking, look at the history of banking, the importance of banking. Okay, so you can read through the handouts that I've given you, okay? And there's also in your SS book 2, page 132 to 135, they've got some notes. And so you can make some headings such as the history of banking, the importance, and some key terms. And I'll highlight those key terms to you now, okay? And so if you go to your PDFs, I've got them in number order. So number 1, open that, nice and small. Let's go from here. And it just goes through the history of how Bahamas became pretty much a banking, like a financial center in the Caribbean. And so it talks about how it becomes a financial center, talks about how the Bahamas is a tax haven, which is attracted people and organizations from all over the world to bank in the Bahamas, okay? And so the idea of trying to avoid tax. Now we've got all of these kind of keywords that I mentioned, and now you've used some of these. And a couple of weeks ago you talked about it in the SU, and you talked about these different accounts. So you've got like a checking account, which is kind of like your everyday account. So when you're spending some money, you take your money out and then you put the money back in. Your credit account, this is where you borrow from the bank, okay? So anything you use in the credit is not your money and you have to pay it back. It's sort of a kind of easy, quick loan, okay? And so then that's the difference between a credit and a debit card. A credit and a debit card, that's your money, okay? It's your money that you've earned and you're spending your money. But if you use a credit card, you're borrowing, okay? And then you have to pay it back. And that talks about different types of debt, the demand and a deposit, okay? So when you put money into the bank. So these are all keywords which you could make note of. Then it goes from here. Depression. Now this is talking more in an economic sense. You might have heard this word, and you might have done this in history, where you talked about the Great Depression in the 1920s, and now recently there was the boom in the last decade, and boom and crash in the last decade. So we've got that, the economy for the country, and the gross domestic product, okay? This is the amount of money that a country kind of produces from goods and services, the amount of value, okay? So that is one way of showing, kind of measuring how developed a country is, okay? Inflation, the cost of things generally go up. Things are a lot more expensive than they were if you think 30 or 40 years ago, okay? Interest rate, you borrow money. Do you pay back exactly what you borrowed? No, you would have to pay a little bit more to pay for the privilege of having their money, okay? And that's where you take a loan. Mortgage is a sort of special loan that you use for buying a house, okay? And there is also this idea of offshore, okay? And offshore banking is to describe banking activity in currencies other than the currencies of the country in which the bank accounts are held. So, for example, the Bahamas is a kind of famous place for offshore banking. So if people wanted to have money, they could put it here to try and avoid taxes in their home country, okay? Recession, that's kind of a bit like the Depression, is where the economy is going down, okay? Savings account for you to save your money. Stock market, buying and selling of shares of companies, etc., okay? Unemployment rate, the number of people unemployed, okay? So I think this is quite simple. You can just go through each of these sheets here, the importance of banks, and you can create those notes under those headings that we've got here, okay? Then you can go to your textbook to be able to do the lesson 2 to make those different types. So we've got commercial banking. That's the sort of banking that every day that we do, okay? So if you think of your family, if they're going to the bank, or even yourselves, if you have a bank account, that would be commercial banking. And then offshore banking, I gave a little hint about that earlier. I'll let you read about that, okay? And then you go to SS Book 3, page 137. Let me just get that out. right near the back of the book. So you've done the reading, types of banking, commercial banking, offshore banking, read about that. And then on page 137, there is question 1 to 3. Okay, so using all those notes and you've done the reading you've done, answer those questions, okay? Put them on folder sheet or type them up, upload them to the Plus portal, and that is your assignment for the week. If you want further practice, if you look on your BJC booklet, in your BJC booklet, so if you go to the 2012, nicely, so you go to the 2012 and then go to page 18 of that. It is all about banking, okay? And these is one of the extended questions, okay? And so make sure you can answer all of those questions. So answer those. If I was you, especially with the exam coming up, we don't know when, but we've got more time to practice here. Complete that, upload it, and I can mark it, okay? And I can give you some feedback on that. Lesson 3, geography, nice and simple. Use the link number 4 here and identifying places and bodies of water around the world. And then to answer the question for 2010 in your BJC booklet, okay? So that, I think you've got plenty to get on with there. You know what the assignment is, so that's the bit that needs uploading. But as I said, the more you upload for me to check, the better. Also, a little trivia question. If you could email me, there'll be a prize for those who could answer this first. Where does the word bank come from, okay? I find it quite an interesting thing. So you think like, why do we use the word bank? But if you could maybe email me that answer, then I'll be able to give a prize to the first person who gets that correct, okay? I hope you're doing well. And if you have any questions, just drop me an email. Otherwise, good luck and have a good day.